All right, Nick, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers' huge win today against the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. You know, coming into this game, people are going to be like, well, Pittsburgh's down quite a few players, and I'll let you get into the details of exactly what they were up against. But on both sides of the ball, down key players, yet Pittsburgh marches in to Tampa Bay and handles business. They get the job done, 2018 victory over the Bucs. Decent day through the air. Decent day on the ground. Najee Harris was getting those touches in there. He looked pretty nice. But I think the star of today's show by far, Nick, is this defense. And I want to hear your thoughts here. Tell us the full story of this defense's attack against Tom Brady. What were they able to accomplish here?
Yeah, so this should have been a game for Brady and the Bucs to come out and have a field day passing wise, and they frankly didn't, right? Because all the injuries on the Steelers side, obviously everyone knows TJ Watt's out for extended period of time. Whenever he'll come back, that's kind of up in the air right now. Earlier this week, it was ruled that Minka was out. Minka Fitzpatrick, who's a superstar player in his own right, probably the Steelers' second best player right behind TJ Watt overall on the whole football team. But it wasn't just there, right? They were missing three corners. You had Wallace, you had Sutton, you had Witherspoon. All these guys were out for this game. So you literally have four DBs, three corners. You would have thought Brady would have carved them
like
up.
500 yards easy.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Brady salivates over when we have an inexperienced beat-up secondary. Brady averaged less than 10 yards per completion, 25 of 40 for 243. That's about 6.1 yards per passing attempt. That is god awful, especially by Brady's standards. So that's a huge credit to the Steelers finding a way to get it done. Got to give a lot of credit to the defensive coaching staff and, of course, the players on the field. Without their best pass rusher in Watt, without their best defensive playmaker on their back end in Fitzpatrick, and frankly having no depth at any of the cornerback position, that is absolutely huge. And we saw it in the big moments, right? You had Devin Bush coming up with that key deflection on that 2-point stop, hold the Bucs off after they scored to potentially tie the game up. So a lot of credit goes to this Steelers defense. Look, there's going to be conversations about the Pickett injury, Trubisky coming in, all the things he did. But I think people may overlook how great and clutch specifically, a performance this was on the defensive side of the ball for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Nick, and to mention briefly some strong offensive performance, obviously Trubisky came in. He had a strong performance, showing maybe why this Pittsburgh team has left him to be a captain of this team. But Chase Claypool also had a pretty big game. 7 targets, 7 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. The big one, the 26-yarder. He had a couple clutch plays in this game as well. But just offensively, the Pittsburgh Steelers did okay against, again, a pretty formidable Bucs defense. There's a lot of strong players on this Bucs defense.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the clutch aspect of the Claypool side, because on that, after the Bucs scored and got stopped on the 2-point drive, I think people may forget about this. The Steelers were in 2 third and long, I think 3rd and 11 and 3rd and 15. And both times they went to Claypool, and both times Claypool made the big plays to convert. And obviously the Steelers were able to run the football out. So obviously the strength of the defense carried Pittsburgh today. But how about Trubisky to Claypool being the clutch connection at the end of the game to put this one on ice and get the Steelers their first win in a long time? They broke the losing streak. And frankly, there's a lot of people that didn't expect it. So this may be the sign of things starting to turn around for the Steelers, especially as they get some key guys back and healthy in that locker room.
Yeah, Nick, and I want to touch back on that. Yep, I've looked it up. Per PFF, number 8 defense in the NFL coming into today, the Buccaneers were. That's pretty good on them. And the 12th offense, number 12 offense coming into the day. And we can't reiterate enough how impressive it was for this Pittsburgh defense to come out and hold the Bucs. Fournette had 21 attempts for 63 yards. His longest one was 13 yards. They really held down the big plays. The biggest catches of the day were like 28 yards. And for Chris Godwin, that's really not, you expect to see a couple 50-yarders by him. So keeping everything in front of you, keeping the big plays down, locking down the rushing game, keeping the receiving game. Only Godwin had 95 yards. Everyone else had less than 50 yards receiving. So just a big performance by this defense, and it can't go stated enough that they really stepped up to the occasion, having 4 DBs out.